Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Elizabeth, and guess what? This is the first video of 2024 that I am filming. Now, in November, I did film a wrap-up. Hold on, because I'm like outside and it's like really foggy and my camera lens is like fogging up. Hold on. So sorry, I know that was rude, but it's happened already a few times and I've had to do this multiple times, but it is what it is. I live in Florida and it's actually nice and cool outside today, which is why I decided to come to the park. Anyways, I had filmed a November wrap-up of the books that I read, but for some reason the video was like in slow-mo by itself, like on my camera and on my laptop. There was no sound. It was a hot mess. I don't know why that happened. So then I told myself, okay, I'll just film it with my December wrap-up because I didn't read as many books in December, so I'll just combine both months. Yeah, December came and it kicked my butt. I had 2 weeks off at the end of December, starting the 22nd. That was my first day off of work because I'm a teacher. And we went on vacation, me and my family. We came back from vacation sick. Like, I had to take my kids to the doctor because I had a fever for 3 days. I did not go away. Like, it decreased in intensity, but it wouldn't go away. They still had that fever. So when I took them to the doctor, they tested positive for COVID. Now, my daughter, she's 4, so I really don't mind so much that she had it because she can take medicine to help her like expel the phlegm, to help her feel better. But it was my son that really kicked my butt. He is 1, so there's not much that you can do. I had nights sleeping on the swing with him. Well, he was sleeping on the swing. I was sleeping in the living room on the recliner. So he was like sleeping on the swing with a humidifier. He couldn't breathe, so I was waking up every half hour to every hour because he was crying. His voice got really hoarse from crying. He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't even want to drink anything. I thought I would have to take him to the hospital. There were nights that he would have to sleep on me because it was the only way that he was going to be able to breathe. And December, honestly, like it got away from me for being able to film, and then that went on into January. Thank the good Lord above, both my kids are doing a lot better. I think my son finally gained back whatever he lost. Like, you know, whenever you're like really sick, you as an adult don't eat anyways. And I think he lost his sense of taste because he didn't want to eat. He didn't even want water. And that was like a concern for me. But I think he's back up to the weight that he was before getting sick because baby boy getting chunky. Anyway, so I am here to film or refilm the November portion of my wrap-up, but then to also film the December wrap-up, which was not my best reading month, but it's okay. So in November, for starters, and I'm not gonna go in any particular order, one of the books that I read was Rock Bottom Girl by Lucy Score. I am loving Lucy Score. She is going to be like an automatic buy author for me. So this book is about Marley. Is it Marley? Yes, Marley. And she loses like her dream job, so she has to go back to her parents' house. So she lost everything because all of her savings she invested it in like the starter company, and she lost her job because the company like went bankrupt and the company closed and everything. So she has to go back to her hometown, back to her parents' house. Something happened her high school year, you don't know what it is till like the end, that made her want to leave this town and never come back. So either way, she has no choice but to go back. And then her mom knows that she needs a job. So the local high school has a position for like PE coach and girls soccer team coach. So the mom talked to the principal, and the principal said, yeah, that she was going to hire her. So Marley agrees, because it's temporary. It's a temporary job. And she used to play soccer when she was younger, so she's like, oh, okay, fine, I'll take the soccer position, not a problem. But then Jake, the hottie from high school, is the history teacher there. So, you can kind of get the gist. They start fake dating. I forgot why, because honestly I read this book back in November. And a lot happened since November. As there's a squirrel right there. It's adorable. I like squirrels. It's eating something. At least there's no ducks. I was surrounded by ducks. I guess they thought that I had food, which I don't. But anyways, I gave this book 5 stars. I loved it. I loved the banter. And then Jake was just such a gentleman when he, when he was with her. He treated her with such respect. Yes, there is spice, but the way that it went about to them doing it for the first time, it was just so romantic. And then I love the relationship that she ends up building with her soccer team. Marley is sarcastic. I am very sarcastic. You can ask my students that, which is why I like to teach the older kids, because you can throw the sarcasm at them and they're not gonna mind, they're gonna laugh with you. And I loved the sarcasm. I loved the way that she treated kind of like the bullies of the high school. I loved it. I was literally giggling and laughing out loud and sending my students through teams like, pictures, guys, this is something I would say. And they're like, yeah, it is something that you would say. So I related to Marley on that level so much. I loved the book, 5-star. This is my second Lucy Score book. People said that this one isn't her best. I don't know. Like I said, this is only the second one I read, and both of her books I've given 5 stars. But anyway, that was the first one. Absolutely loved it. Another one that I read was The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. This one I believe I gave 3 stars. I mean, it's cute. It's got very little spice. But Nina Hill, she's an only child. Her mom is like a famous like movie star or something. And she suffers from anxiety. But she's very to herself. You know, she's got like her group of friends. She works at a bookstore. She's got some anxiety. She's a planner. If things don't go her way, that's where her anxiety starts to kick in. She's on a trivia team. And that's something that I was not expecting. I've never read a book about somebody who's on a trivia team. I mean, like, I know people who know trivia, like some tidbits of trivia, but not like an actual team that they go to competition. So that's what Nina and her friends do. While they're at one of those competitions, she sees a guy and she finds him attractive. I forgot what his name is. Tom. There it is. Tom. You know, she's attracted to Tom. But in this whole time that she's like being attracted to Tom, she gets a lawyer that shows up at her workplace, at the bookstore that she works at. And he's like, oh, your father passed away. We need you to go to the will reading because without you there, we cannot read this will. We cannot, you know, disperse what he wanted it to do. So with those words, she found out who her dad was, because every time she would ask her mom would like play it off as if her dad wasn't an important person or not somebody that was worthy of being in her daughter's life. I can see, and I can relate to Nina because I can relate to that too. I don't have the best relationship with my father. Actually, I don't have a relationship with my father. I haven't seen him since my wedding, and I am going on 14 years married. My kids have no idea who he is. He knows he's got grandkids on my end because I have 3 half-siblings, you know, him with his second wife. At least on my end, he hasn't cared to know who his grandkids are. So anyways, I'm like Nina's mom in that sense. I don't want my kids to have a relationship with my father because I don't feel he deserves it. Anyways, so when she gets this news, she finds that she has a whole other family. I was so confused as to who was who. Somewhere in here, let me see if I can find it. One of her nephews, I think it was Peter. He actually gave her, like he drew her a family tree, so that she would see who was an aunt, who was an uncle, who was a niece, who was a nephew, who was a brother, who was a sister. So this is the dad. His name is William, and then these are like the different women that he had kids with. And then these are like the names of the kids, and then if their kids, like if his kids had, you know, kids, like this is just the family tree. I found myself referencing this family tree quite a lot because I was so confused as to who was who. And yes, it was Peter, the one that I remember, because he is her favorite nephew. He's like the bubbly one, and I liked him. So anyways, that's what the book is about, like that found family and how, you know, she just ended up having a relationship with a family that she never thought she would have. There is one in particular. Let me go back now. There we go. Let me see. It was Lydia, who I think is one of her cousins. I am not sure. Or one of her nieces or something like that. That Lydia, she's like, oh, I don't think that Nina should get anything. You know, she was never, she's validated, you know, she was never in the life. We never even knew that she existed. So why should she get anything that belonged to my grandfather? You know, she'd be left to us, the ones who were actually in his life. So at the end, it's just like Nina puts Lydia in her place. And I kind of like that because, like I said, I kind of tend to do that. Maybe it's a teacher in me. I don't know, but I do tend to do that. It was 3 stars. It wasn't the best. It doesn't live in my mind rent-free, but it wasn't bad. I liked reading about Nina and how her and I kind of related on a lot of aspects. Like, she is a planner. Like, she has like daily pages. Let me see if I can find one. They're every. Oh, here, I found one. Sorry, effects from COVID. The cough is what lasts the longest. Anyway, so here, like, her planning pages, and it's just like she writes the stupidest things, you know, like if she has to work, she'll like put it down, and that's something that I do all the time. At the end, it wasn't bad. 3 stars. Like I said, doesn't live in my mind rent free, but it wasn't the worst. The next book that I'm gonna talk about, I got major deja vu. I gave it a 3-star, but I'm actually thinking of dropping it down to like a 2-star. But then again, I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me, or maybe you guys felt the same way. I'll explain now. The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Everyone hyped up this book. I agree, it is a good book. I see the hype. I'm not gonna spoil anything because the back said, and by the time I realized my attic bedroom door only locks from the outside, it's far too late. So a little bit of a spoiler, her name I think is also Nina. Yes, Nina. She gets locked inside her bedroom. Obviously because she discovered, you know, it says that it's too late. From that point on in the book, I had some major deja vu, as if I had read exactly what happened after that somewhere else. I have read or heard that this book is compared to The Last Miss Parrish. I looked up different covers of that book, and I don't remember ever in my life reading that book. But it's just, I felt that from that point on and to the very end, I had read it somewhere else, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what book it was. Either way, Nina is a convicted felon, and she is looking for a job. So she gets hired by... Oh no, it's not Nina. I forgot what her name is. Nina is like the doorway. I forgot what her name is. Anyways, I really can't. Nina was the wife. Okay, so anyways, this girl, I forgot her name. She gets hired by Nina to be like, you know, the housemaid, to do all the housework and to just do everything. But Nina makes this girl's life impossible. She, for example, she breaks dishes on purpose, and then, oh, it was you who broke them, it wasn't me. And then she has a daughter from Nina has a daughter from a previous relationship, and the daughter's like super rude to her. And it's just like, you know, this girl, she's like, I'm thinking about like leaving because I can't take it. This woman is out of her mind. She tells me to do one thing, but then I do it the way she wants to. She's like, no, that I did it completely wrong, that I gotta do it again, and blah, blah, blah. But like I said, something happens where the girl, like I said, if I can find her name, Millie, I just found her name, Millie, where Millie gets locked inside her bedroom door, her bedroom, which is the attic, like the highest point. And that's when she realizes that it only locks from the outside. And it's just, like I said, up to that point, the book was great. I could not put it down. I think I read it in like 2 days. I could not put it down because I wanted to see what was gonna happen. Why? Was Nina really out of her mind? Because all her friends said she was. Not gonna spoil anything, but you know, and it's just, it came to that. It's like, is Nina really out of her mind? What is gonna happen? Millie has a record. You find out what she did, and like, is she gonna do the same thing to Nina? What is gonna happen? But like I said, as soon as Millie got locked in her room, it kind of went downhill, because I just had that major deja vu that I had read that somewhere, and that I kind of should have seen the ending coming. But you know, that's the only thing I didn't like about the book, the major deja vu vibes that I got. There is a second part to the book, and a third part that's coming out, I think, this year. Not sure if I would read. I think the second one is called The Housemaid's Secrets. So this book ends, and I understand why there's a second part, because the way that this book ends, it can lead to a second part. It doesn't have to, because it had a conclusion, so it doesn't have to, but I understand why it did. But like I said, I just, you know, so help me out. 2 or 3. I gave it 3 because it was really good until the point that Millie got locked up in her room, but then it just went downhill from there. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought. The next one is young adult. I could see why if you are 17 years old or 18 or even a little bit younger, you could like this book. I found it way too young for me. And it is If He Had Been With Me. Beautiful love story about Autumn and Finn. They are best friends. I mean, their moms were best friends. Their moms were pregnant at the same time. I think Finn is maybe like 2 months, 1 month older than Autumn. They grew up together. They're neighbors. But something happens the summer of their 8th grade year. So from when they go from 8th grade to 9th grade, that they just stop talking to each other. So when they enter high school, they are in completely different friend groups. And obviously they have to interact because they're neighbors. The moms are still best friends and all of that. But it's just the way that the story was written. I mean, it was an easy read. I literally read this chunker of a book, which is, I will tell you, can't even tell you because I don't know what the pages are here. So 391 pages of a book. So it's not, it's not that short, but it's not that big either. But I literally read this in a day. It was too young. To me, she cannot be that stupid. I'm sorry. She cannot be that stupid. Because what happened in that summer that they stopped talking, like that to me, and it was on her end that they stopped talking, to me was such a stupid reason for them to stop talking. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what it was, but she cannot be that stupid. She should have known. And then the way that the book ended, I just found so stupid as well. Like, it could have been done differently. I felt that if it would have been done differently, it would have had a different effect on me. Yes, spoiler, it is sad what happened, but just the way, I had never heard of it happening the way that it happened in this book. I just felt that it was dumb. Like, I felt that it could have been done in a more dramatic way to give it a little bit of more effect, if you ask me. But that's why I gave it 3 stars. And then I just felt that it was written for a much younger audience, not someone my age. And then Autumn, his name I think is Finnegan, but they call him Finn. Autumn calls him Finny. So every time she was referring to him was Finny this and Finny that. That drove me up a wall. Once or twice is fine, but it's like, he is a teenager. His name is Finn. Just like, freaking call him Finn. Everyone else does. But no, it's Finny this and Finny that. That drove me up a wall the whole time. I was like, ugh, why? His name is Finn. Anyways, so I believe I gave this one a 3 star. Let me check my Goodreads, because like I said, November was quite a few months ago. Let me see. Yes, I gave it 3 stars. Because like I said, I can see if you are in high school or maybe a little bit younger, I can see why you like this book. But as someone my age, I didn't enjoy it. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say because it's like too young for me. So if you are in high school watching this, I do recommend, because I feel that you would relate better to the characters than what I could. Like I said, just for me, I felt that it was a bit too young for me. The next book that I have is a dark romance. It is called A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. It is a bully romance. It is part of a series of the Lancaster Prep series, but all the books are like standalones. That's what I was thinking. Sorry, they're standalone. So you can read them and they're all interconnected in a way, but not really. So this one is, her name is Ren. Oh, and his name is Crew. I just read it. Crew belongs to the Lancaster family, which are the owners of this prep school. So in a way, he feels untouchable. And then I think it was the junior year, this new girl, Ren, came over. Everybody wanted a piece of her, all the guys, but she wouldn't give it to them. She was very proper. She had made a promise to her dad that she would save herself from marriage. Beautiful, wonderful, But then Crew got into his head that he was gonna beg her, and he was gonna get into her pants, and he was gonna be the one to take away her virginity. And that kind of bothered me. It's like, sex shouldn't be your only goal with a girl, or vice versa. If you're a girl, your only goal shouldn't be just have sex with a guy. If you're gonna have sex, it should have meaning, because there should be a deeper relationship between the two people that are engaging in sex. Anyways, Crew always made Ren feel uncomfortable, because he would give her like dirty looks, because he's, secretly he wanted her sexually, but he wanted her, and that made her feel uncomfortable. So in their psychology class, their teacher puts them together that they have to partner up. As much as she begged to be put with somebody else, somebody that she felt more comfortable with, the teacher was like, no, you have to work together. This book does have trigger warnings. It does take place at a high school. Like I said, it's a bully romance. There are inappropriate relationships in here that, as a teacher, that pissed me off, because it's like, as a teacher, I do high school. You do find your students handsome or pretty. You can see why other students find them attractive, but it's like you need to draw that line. You are the adults. It should not go beyond the student-teacher relationship, because it should not. And if you feel that it is, you should be adult enough to stop it. And every day, and even in real life, we see all these inappropriate relationships between students and teachers, and it bothers me. Anyways, I went off on a whole tangent, but there are inappropriate relationships in this book. At the end of the day, I do feel that Crew grew to love Ren for who she is, because he would do things for her that made her feel so wanted and so loved, something that she hadn't felt in a while from a boy or a man. But then not even her parents, because her parents were kind of like cold, because her parents were going through their own thing. So she felt, she was just lacking a little bit in love. And I felt that Crew grew to truly love her for who she was, because he got to know her. Like, she was very nice to everyone. She was never mean to anyone. He's like, oh, she can't be that nice. That's just a facade. That's just, a mask that she's putting up. But then he realized, yeah, she really is this nice. She really is this great person that everyone always said she was. And it's just the things that he would do for her kind of won me over at the end. But because there were some moments that were like, ugh, and I really had to push through at the beginning to get to maybe like a quarter of the way through, I gave it 4-star. If you don't mind the bully romance, and if you don't mind the inappropriate relationships, then heck, this book is for you. It's got smut in it, which I feel that I think this book is targeted for, well, it shouldn't even be targeted for YA, because YA books usually are not full of smut. But it's not bad. You might have to push through a little bit if you can, because if you can't, that's okay. Not every book is made for everyone. But at the end, I think I did end up giving it 4-star, because it really was not that bad. And like I said, Crew really did grow to, yes, I gave it 4 stars. Crew really did grow to love Ren for who she was at the end of the book. And the book does give some type of conclusion as to where their relationship ended up. And I did like that, because some books just say, oh, it's a happily ever after and that's it. No, this one went a little bit beyond the happily ever after, if there was one. So I don't know, I kind of like that their story had a conclusion. The next book that I read in November, I don't have it because the cousin of one of my students has it, and it was The Cheat Sheet. Oh, by Sarah Adams. Oh my God. I read that book in like 2 days. It's a short little itty bitty rom-com. It's like 350 something pages. But it was adorable. So you have Nate and Bree. They have been best friends since high school. He is a football player for like some team, obviously a made-up team in LA, and she is the owner of a dance studio. She was supposed to audition for Juilliard, but she got T-boned in an accident and she could no longer dance professionally. So she decided to open up a dance studio for underprivileged girls. And they are still best friends. She is secretly in love with him, or actually they're secretly in love with each other, but they don't want to ruin like the relationship, the friendship that they have. So they never, they never go about exploring the romantic aspect of what their relationship could be. So it is so funny, because she gets like, okay, so they're going to the Super Bowl. The football team is going to the Super Bowl. She gets hammered drunk. That scene was just hilarious. Like, I literally was cracking up when I was reading it, and my daughter was like, Mommy, why are you laughing? Because she sees that I'm reading. Like, she doesn't know how to read, but she sees that I'm reading a book. She's like, Mommy, why are you laughing? It was that scene to me like lives rent free in my mind. It was hilarious. Anyway, so during that plastered moment of her, she tells a TMZ reporter that she is secretly in love with Nate, and that's why none of his relationships have ever lasted. So it goes on to TMZ, and his agent suggests that they date. So here comes the fake dating trope. And at the end, it was like 4 weeks that they had to do it or something. They would obviously both get compensated, and she needs that money for her dance studio. And it goes on from that. But then, since he's secretly in love with her, his football team comes up with a cheat sheet, hence the name, with tips on how he's going to keep the girl at the end of the 4 weeks. That cheat sheet has like the stupidest things, but it is so funny the way that they go about doing it. And then I wish I could show you, but like I said, the book is borrowed out. At the end of the book, they actually have like what the cheat sheet was on like little notes. So for example, number 1, let's say to kiss her forehead. I forgot what it was, but let's just say it was to kiss her forehead. If it worked, Nate would actually write, oh wow, so this was a really good idea. It worked. And it's just like little tidbits and stuff like that. It was just hilarious. I loved the book. Easy 5 stars. I have more Sarah Adams books that are on my physical TBR that I cannot wait to read. But that was a 5-star read for me. It was absolutely adorable. So that finished my November reads. Now when we go into December, it was only 3 books. At the end of November, this book, a student of mine has it. She's borrowing it. At the end of November, I was reading Heartless by Marissa Mayer. It is, I wouldn't say it's an Alice in Wonderland retelling, but it's like the origin story of the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. The book was pretty long. A lot was going on at the beginning of December that I kind of like, I didn't connect with the characters because, and I know that it's because I was really busy on my end. So her name is Catherine, and she wants to be a baker, but she comes from like this prominent family, and her family feels that baking is not the job for somebody of her status. She needs to marry this person because this person can maintain her and provide wealth or whatever. But then the king has many balls. The king of hearts has many balls, and her family attends one. Her mother purposely put her in like this dress that would call attention to her so that the king would focus on her. At the end of the day, the king ends up falling in love with her, and through and through he ends up wanting to marry her. But in that process, she falls in love with the king's jester, Jack. But that's kind of like forbidden, because he's kind of like a nobody. He can't provide for her. So she's not supposed to be in love with him. She's supposed to accept the king's proposal and become the Queen of Hearts. As the story progresses, you do meet the Mad Hatter, or somebody along those lines of the Mad Hatter. You do meet the March Hare, someone along the lines of the March Hare. And they do take you on an adventure. I'm not gonna say any more than that because I don't know how to say it without spoiling the book. But it is totally, I can totally understand where the off with their heads came from and why she became so bitter. And I'm referring to like the cartoon Alice in Wonderland because I really haven't seen the live action remakes. But if referring to like the cartoon Alice in Wonderland, I can see why she is so mean and so bitter. And because of this book, it makes sense. Now this author, she has nothing to do with Disney. That comes straight from her brain. But I can see why, it was the way it was. I think I gave it 4 stars because I did enjoy it. There were moments that I was like, I could not put the book down. I gave it 4 stars until I absolutely had to. But all in all, I do recommend it. It is a fantasy. It is YA, so that's why I kind of like it more because I think adult fantasy I've never tried it, but I think it would fly over my head. But either way, it was good. The next book that I read in December was Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. She is such a sweetheart. I met her at the book fair that we had down here in Miami in November, the 18th of November. She is such a sweetheart. This book I will never give away because it is autographed and personalized because we do have the same name. So this book is very special to me. This was my first Elizabeth Acevedo book, and it's her first adult novel too because I know that she has more in YA. I haven't read any of her other books. Kind of disappointed. And I hate to say that. I love the fact that it was a Dominican family. I'm not Dominican, but it's a Latin family. So I love how she went from, the Spanglish was in there. So I was able to go from like the English to the Spanish and like pick up on all the cues. Thank God she did this. She put a table of principal persons. So she put a table as to who most of the main characters were in the book. And as you can see, I kept it like tabbed here because I was referencing it a lot. So in this book, Flor, every one of the women has some type of superpower. Flor can see like when death is coming. So it says here, Floyd has a gift. She can predict to the day when someone will die. So Flor, at the end of the day, because of that, she wants to have a living wake. While her sisters and her nieces and her nephews come and do a wake for her. Everyone is wondering, but why? Did you see your death? When are you dying? What is happening? She doesn't crack. She doesn't say anything. And then we have Matilde, who is the oldest sister, Pastora, who is the younger sister, and then you have Camila, which is like the youngest sister, but she's not really spoken about too much. And then you go into the daughters of the sisters. So you have Ona, which is Flor's daughters. She possesses a magical alpha vagina. So she has like these, like her orgasms are like out of this world. And one really cool thing, she can kind of control her period. So she can feel it coming, and let's say like she has an event, she can postpone it to after that event, or she can say, you know what, I'm done with it, I want to get it over with. She can get her period now. So I found that kind of cool. And then you have Yadi, which is Pastora's daughter. She's got a taste for limes. Then you have other people, the men that are in the life of these women. And it's just a relationship of all the women. This was, like I said, December was just a rough reading month. I don't know. I couldn't really connect to some of the characters. It took me a while to read the book. I was constantly going back to that paycheck with the butterfly to see who was who. I know probably that if I would have had time to sit there and read more fluidly than I did, I probably would have related more to the characters and given it higher. I mean, it did have its moments. At the end, it was like, okay, what is happening? Really, why does Flor want this wake? So at the end, I kind of like sped read it because I needed to get to the end. I needed my questions answered. But I gave it 3 stars. I have heard that her YA books are good. Can't say better than this because I feel that you shouldn't compare YA to adult because the topics obviously are different. Adult is a lot more mature. But I do want to read more of her other books, which are YA. And then the last one that I read in December, I never had the physical copy, so I read it on my Kindle, and it is Midnight at Everwood. This was a Nutcracker retelling. Again, it's another one that I could not sit down to read because I did not have the time. I finished this on Christmas, and I started it, I think it was like the 8th of December. So it took me about 2 weeks to read it, almost 20 days. And it was just, I thought I would like it more because I love ballet. I love the Nutcracker. I love the story. I just thought I would like it more. I kind of predicted the ending where time really didn't pass, but I don't know. Like, I could see who the Rat King was and who the prince was or whatever. The ending was kind of sad that at the end, there was something that she didn't get at the end because she sacrificed that for the sake of everyone else's safety. So that part was sad, but it did help her get it was something else that she wanted at the end. And it's just that she had like a found family when she was like kidnapped. She found a family within the women who helped her. Like, I don't know how to explain it. If you like ballet, it does take place around Christmas time, obviously, because the Nutcracker takes place around Christmas time. I wouldn't say it's really a Christmas book if you don't celebrate, but I don't know. It was okay. I gave it 3 stars because it did have moments, like I said, that I couldn't put it down, that I did like. I loved the ballet aspects of it. I can imagine her dancing, whatever she was dancing, like if she was doing a certain ballet move, I could imagine exactly what she was doing, how she was moving her arms, the port de bras, which is like the movement of the arms, and I can just imagine it, like her dress flowing, or her tutu, or her audition, because she auditioned for something. I could imagine that vividly in my mind because I love ballet. I used to do ballet when I was a little girl. Quit because I saw how their feet get, poor girls, but and it's really not a good career because by the time you're like 23, you are outnumbered by younger girls that are skinnier than you, and they're just younger, so their bodies can do more than yours can. But anyways, it was okay. That was my 3-star read of the month. So December, I had 1 4-star read and 2 3-star reads. Like I said, December just came and it kicked my butt. In general, like I don't know what it was. The whole month, and I'm not gonna talk about like the last 2 weeks, like the whole month, I don't know what it was. On Christmas Day, I did start reading another book that I finished in January, so that's gonna be in my January wrap up. But even to this day, it's like mid-January, and I'm still kind of in a book slump. Like the one that I read before the one I'm reading now, mind you, it's only the mid-January and I'm only at 2 books. But you know what? That's okay. I'm not gonna push myself. I want to enjoy the books that I'm reading, and if I'm in a slump, I'm in a slump. Eventually, I will get out of it. So. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my video. If, like I said before, if you're new here, welcome. I hope you stick around. Please hit the subscribe button so we can become friends and talk more about books. And leave that in the comments below if you've read any of the books that I read in November, December, and what you want to read for January. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.